Hi, welcome to Loki S Cards. I'm Loki, and I S Cards. Today I'm going to be talking about a deck I got for Christmas, actually. My son gave me this, and it is the Ampharos EX deck. Obviously, I've already unboxed it. I unboxed it on Christmas so I could play with him and just have some fun. So what I have here are the cards. It comes with the normal things that you would expect a deck to come with. It comes with the damage counters, the coin, that kind of stuff. I am not a huge fan of the newer coins. So you'll see in here, I have the older, smaller coin. That's what I usually use. I don't like the large ones. They're kind of unwieldy to me. And in lieu of using one of those large coins, sometimes I'll use one of the large die instead. If you hear me sniffling and sounding like I'm suffering, it's because if you've checked the location of the videos, you'll know that these are all filmed in Texas, and it is a bad time right now if you have allergies and live in Texas. So pollen counts are crazy high. My nose is stuffed. I'm sneezing like crazy. So I will do my best to get through this without being horribly sniffly and sounding atrocious. But there's only so much I can do. I am still just a man. So here we go. This is something that I really like when they include these with the deck, and it's the rules. So it tells you about special conditions, about burn, poison, goes over what you can do during your turn, talks about sleep paralysis and confusion. So just stuff that when you're first starting out, it can be hard to keep all that straight, and it's really helpful to have that as a reference. So really enjoy that. The other thing that's really easy to just point out quickly is it comes with 18 basic electric energy cards. Nothing crazy. Oh, Gengar and a couple of my other Chinese cards fell. So it's nothing crazy. It's a solid amount of energy that you would need to run this deck because, as you'll see once we get into talking about the Pokemon, there's a lot of moves that require you to discard an energy. So you want to have a little more there. Now for the trainer cards, there is a solid 20 trainer cards. We'll start with the item cards. Pokegear lets you look at the top 7 cards of your deck, and you can reveal a supporter you find there and put it into your hand. So a good card, you get 2 potions, 2 energy retrievals, 2 switches, 2 nest balls, and 2 ultra balls. So good things to kind of switch around. You're able to get back some of those energies that you're potentially discarding with your attacks, and then stuff to find your basic Pokemon or the evolutions, if that's what you're after. A nice combo to use is if you're hunting for a Pokemon and you have an Ultra Ball in your hand, 2 energies, and an energy retrieval, is you can play the Ultra Ball, discard the 2 energy, and then find your Pokemon, then play the energy retrieval to get those 2 energy right back into your hand. So, not anything horribly complex, just a nice thing to use if you hadn't thought about it. Next, we have our supporters. Now, as you see, we have a lot of repeats. So what this deck has done is it takes advantage of the fact that you can have up to 4 of the same type of card. So you have 4 youngsters, 4 Nemonas, and 1 Jacques. So youngster lets you shuffle your hand into your deck and draw 5 cards. So kind of like Cynthia, except Cynthia would allow you to do 6, which I liked better, but youngster's still not bad. Nemona, your usual draw 3 cards. And then Jacques allows you to search for up to 2 evolution Pokemon and put them in your hand. Pretty good supporters. You could probably switch them out to make the deck a little stronger. But again, it's for a basic deck that you're buying off the shelf, it's pretty nice. And now we have our 22 Pokemon. So we'll start with the normal Pokemon. We have Flamigo. Honestly, I would not use this card with this as far as like placing it on the field. I'm only using this card if I really have to. Otherwise, this is going to be one of the ones that I use my Ultra Ball, is to discard this card. That's the only reason why I would, or the only way that I would use that if I'm given the choice. Now you'll see what is a very typical stack for how you would build up to having a Pokemon, a powerful Pokemon in your deck. Is a lot of times, especially with these theme decks, you'll see 3 of the basic, 2 of the stage 1, and 1 of the stage 2. Sometimes you'll see 2 of the stage 2. What this does is it increases the odds that you're going to draw that Starly, because you have to have that Starly in order to begin the chain to get up to your Staraptor. Then 2 Staravia. Again, it's better than having 1. You want to increase your odds. So by putting 2 in, you've doubled your chances that you're going to be able to pull that Staravia. I personally would, if I were to revamp this deck, I would probably get rid of the Flamigo and put in another Staraptor. I think that would make this deck a lot better. And here we see ultimately the attacks that we want to get to. Tailspin. So during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from basic Pokemon. So pretty good if they're using something that, even if it's a powerful basic Pokemon, it'll stop it. And then your Power Blast, you discard an energy from this Pokemon, but it does 180 damage. Something to note is you need to kind of keep track of like your opponent's HP. So what I'll see a lot of younger players do is they'll get their 3 energy on this Pokemon, and or a Pokemon like this, and they'll just start spamming Power Blast, and they'll just put another energy on, Power Blast, another energy on, Power Blast, and they'll keep doing that. If you have an opponent whose their Pokemon has 200 HP, it could make more sense to use your Tailspin and then next turn blast him with the Power Blast. If you know that this Pokemon's going to be able to survive. I know that it's tempting, like you see that huge damage output and you want to spam it, but that whole time you're going to be burning through your energy. So that's just a way to kind of hold off on running through all those energies. If I could pick these cards up, there we go. And now we'll just quickly look at the electric Pokemon. So we've got, again, kind of the same buildup that we saw with Starly up to Staraptor. Is we've got our Mareeps going up to Flaffy, and then Ampharos EX. And we've got 1 energy required to do Electro Ball for 60, and then 3 energy required to do 140 damage with Thunderstrike Tail. Now you see here, you may discard 2 energy from this Pokemon to have it do 100 more damage. So language is important. You don't have to, but if it's a really powerful Pokemon and you could really use that extra 100 damage, this is just right here. I know this card isn't in rotation anymore, but it's just sitting here, so it's a really good example. So let's say my opponent has the Pikachu Zarkrom GX tag team. Well, by discarding 2 electric energy and doing 100 more damage, I would knock this card out. And then looking at the tag team rule, that's 3 prize cards you get to draw. So like if you're playing against someone who's running an older deck and you have that ability to do that, I mean, that's half your prize cards right there that you get to draw, partially because the tag team GX Pokemon are so ridiculously powerful. So yeah, that's things where you look at the situation and you decide, is it worth it to burn that energy? In that instance, I would say absolutely it is. You've got 1 Miraidon, 2 energy for Sharp Fang for 30, and then what I really like is this Lightning Laser, 90 damage, but then it also does 30 to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. So this is a way that you can power through whoever's in the active position, but start sniping and chipping away at people who are on the bench, especially if they've got some Pokemon that maybe don't have a whole lot of health. Again, it's just, I happen to have this right here. So, if they've got Pachirisu on the bench, and you do it twice, like, well, now, are they really going to want to bring Pachirisu up because they know that he's going to get cooked? And it makes it very important for them to get Miraidon out of the equation before the next turn, or else your Pachirisu's about to faint. We've got 2 Rotom. Nothing crazy there. Linear attack, one energy requirement. You get to pick who you're attacking, so that's kind of nice. But Rotom is not a very strong Pokemon. Low HP, low attack output. So again, probably one of the ones that I would be using to discard with my Ultra Ball to pick who I actually want out. Then you've got your 3 Wattrel and your 3 Kilowattrel. So again, this is another common spread where you'll see 3 of the Pokemon, the basic, and then 3 of what they would be evolving into. You got our Kilowattrel, so 120 HP, not too bad. Skill Dive does 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. You get to pick who it is. So much better, and only for one more energy, it does 10 more, or 30 more damage than this linear attack does. And then Thunder Blast, you discard an electric energy from this Pokemon, but you do 140 damage. So pretty good. I think this was one of the, you know how they have the little rankings of like 3 Pokeballs, and one's like a beginner deck, then 2 is kind of intermediate play, and 3 is advanced. I'm pretty sure this was a 1 Pokeball deck. So it's good for beginners, and part of that is because of like teaching you the structure of what you should be putting in. A lot of, again, this is something that I've noticed with younger players, is they may not be paying attention to like what they're putting in. So you want to have the basics you need in order to pull them and play your more powerful cards. You want to have a couple of cards that are powerful all on their own. You want to make sure you have a nice heavy hitter. Again, teaching how to like stack for a full evolution line, and teaching you that it is okay to put in some weaker Pokemon, not to play necessarily unless you're like really put in a bind, but more so in order to have these guys on hand in order to use your Ultra Balls. And then you're not stuck in a hard place of like, I want to use my Ultra Ball to get something good, but all I have in my hand, like, because I've already stacked my bench with my Rotom and my Flamigo, all I have in my hand is 2 Kilowattrels, and do I really want to discard those? And you start to learn, oh, I should have held on to those, and then use the Ultra Ball by discarding these guys. And again, figuring out how to play chain mechanics, where you can discard the 2 basic energies with your Ultra Ball, get your Pokemon, and then use a, a energy retrieval to get those energies right back. Just things like that, where these kind of like beginner decks, they may not be as riveting or fast-paced as some others, but they do a really good job as you play with them and as you get experience to teach you those basic mechanics of the game, and get you a little more confident and learn how to build your own deck. It's through studying these that I've learned how to make mine, and then again, going to tournaments and seeing how other people play in a competitive space. There's a ton of advantages to watching other people play and watching them. Sorry, Squirtle. There's a ton of advantages to watching other people play and watching how they do their moves, but actually going in and getting hands-on experience is huge. So if you're ever given the opportunity to attend a tournament and try out your deck, I would highly encourage it, because it'll make you a much better player in the long run. Anyway, that's it. I just wanted to talk about this. I thought that it was a super cool gift that my son got me, and I was really excited when I opened it to see, like, oh man, something new to try out, some mechanics that maybe I haven't thought of, or maybe a good refresher for some things that I've forgotten about. So there you go. That's all I got. You have a great day, and God bless you.